The Iron Curtain era, spanning from the end of World War II in 1945 to the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, marks one of the most intense and transformative periods in modern history. This epoch was characterized by the ideological, political, and military rivalry between the Western Bloc, led by the United States and its NATO allies, and the Eastern Bloc, dominated by the Soviet Union and its satellite states in Eastern Europe. The term Iron Curtain was famously coined by Winston Churchill in a speech in 1946, symbolizing the stark division between the democratic nations of the West and the communist regimes of the East. This metaphorical barrier represented not just a physical separation, but also the profound ideological chasm that split Europe into two opposing spheres of influence. At the heart of the Iron Curtain era was the Cold War, a prolonged period of geopolitical tension and competition. The United States and the Soviet Union, emerging as superpowers after World War II, engaged in a fierce struggle for global dominance. This rivalry manifested in various forms, including the nuclear arms race, the space race, and numerous proxy wars across the globe. To solidify their influence, both blocs formed military alliances. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, was established in 1949, comprising Western European nations, the United States, and Canada, aiming to provide collective security against Soviet aggression. In response, the Soviet Union and its Eastern European satellites formed the Warsaw Pact in 1955, creating a unified military command to counter NATO's presence and protect communist interests. The nuclear arms race saw both superpowers amassing vast arsenals of nuclear weapons, leading to a precarious balance of terror known as mutually assured destruction, MAD. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 brought the world to the brink of nuclear war, highlighting the perilous nature of this standoff. Simultaneously, the space race became a symbol of technological and ideological superiority. The Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, in 1957, and Yuri Gagarin's historic journey as the first human in space in 1961 were significant victories for the Eastern Bloc. The United States responded with the Apollo moon landings, culminating in Neil Armstrong's iconic first steps on the lunar surface in 1969. The Iron Curtain era also witnessed numerous proxy wars, where the superpowers supported opposing factions in conflicts around the world. The Korean War, 1950-1953, the Vietnam War, 1955-1975, and the Soviet-Afghan War, 1979-1989, were some of the most notable examples. These conflicts not only shaped the geopolitical landscape, but also had profound impacts on the countries involved. After World War II, Germany was divided into 4 occupation zones controlled by the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the Soviet Union. Berlin, located deep in the Soviet zone, was similarly divided. The contrasting political ideologies of the Soviet Union, communism, and the Western allies, capitalism and democracy, created a significant rift. West Berlin, an enclave of democracy and capitalism, became a focal point of ideological conflict, symbolizing freedom to East Germans. The Soviet Union and East German governments saw this as a threat to their control and influence. Berlin became a focal point of Cold War tensions. The Berlin Wall, erected in 1961, symbolized the broader East-West conflict. The Soviet Union, seeing the destabilizing impact of the population drain on its Eastern Bloc ally, as approximately 2.7 million skilled workers and professionals from 1949 fled to West Germany via West Berlin, supported the construction of the Wall, ordered by the German Democratic Republic, GDR, to maintain the status quo and prevent the possibility of a reunified capitalist Germany that could threaten Soviet influence in Europe. Life behind the Iron Curtain was marked by repression and a lack of political freedoms. The secret police, such as the Stasi in East Germany and the KGB in the Soviet Union, maintained strict control over the populace. The Berlin Wall became the most potent symbol of this division, physically separating East and West Berlin and preventing East Germans from fleeing to the West. The Iron Curtain era began to unravel in the late 1980s, with the rise of reformist leaders like Mikhail Gorbachev in the Soviet Union, who introduced policies of glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring. These reforms, coupled with widespread economic problems and nationalist movements, led to the collapse of communist regimes across Eastern Europe. On November 9, 1989, a botched announcement by a government official led to the opening of the border crossings between East and West Berlin. The official, lacking clear instructions, announced that travel restrictions would be lifted immediately, leading to thousands of East Berliners rushing to the wall. Overwhelmed border guards, unsure of how to respond, eventually allowed people to pass freely. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked the symbolic end of the Iron Curtain and the triumph of democratic movements over authoritarian regimes. It paved the way for the reunification of Germany, which was formally completed on October 3, 1990. In 1991, the dissolution of the Soviet Union officially ended the Cold War era, leaving a lasting legacy on international relations and shaping the modern world order. The Minsk Agreement, signed in 1991, marked the official dissolution of the Soviet Union and the establishment of the Commonwealth of Independent States, CIS, further cementing the end of this epoch. The Iron Curtain era remains a poignant reminder of the dangers of ideological extremism and the enduring quest for freedom and unity. The alliances and conflicts of this period continue to influence international relations, underscoring the lasting impact of the Cold War on global politics. Take Cuba, for example. The Cold War had a lasting impact, shaping its political, economic, and social landscape. The decades-old comprehensive economic embargo on Cuba, imposed by the U.S., restricted trade, investment, and financial transactions between the two countries. Their relationship has been marked by distrust and antagonism. The Cuban government aligned with the Soviet Union during the Cold War, leading to strained ties with the United States. Presidents Barack Obama and Raúl Castro took steps to normalize relations, including restoring diplomatic ties. However, President Donald Trump reversed many of these reforms, imposing new sanctions and designating Cuba as a state sponsor of terrorism. The Cold War legacy continues to shape Cuba's present-day challenges affecting its people, economy, and politics. What do you think of Cuba's present situation, and which side are you on regarding the moon landing? Did man land on the moon, or was it all a Hollywood production? And with tensions increasing between the West and East, are we heading into another Cold War era 2.0? Drop your thoughts below. If you like our videos, remember to hit that subscribe button, like and share on A Cuppa History.